Let's go ahead and look at some examples so that all of this information that I've kind of thrown at you will start to make sense. So the first thing that we want to do is double check that we are in standard form and that we aren't missing any of our exponents, going from our biggest one, in this case 2, down to 1 to 0, so we're good there. And our divisor is in the format of x minus k, so remembering that, our k value must be 2. Remember, it's the opposite of the number you see here. We see a negative 2, but we'll write k as a positive 2. Now that we've identified k, we'll go ahead and draw our box and write k on the outside. That is step 1 back on the first sheet. We wrote our house number, or our k value. Now we're going to write the coefficients of the dividend. So we have a 1 in front of x squared, so I'll put a 1 here in the top row. We have a negative 10x, so I'll put a negative 10, and then finally a 2. Again, remember to leave some space here. You don't want your numbers running together to where you can't tell where each individual term is. Now we have done steps 1 and 2. We're ready to actually start the process. And the process goes as follows. We are going to bring down the first coefficient down to the quotient line. So we're just going to rewrite the 1 down here. Now, step 4 is to multiply this times the house number. So 1 times 2 is 2. And I'm going to write that here, up under my second coefficient here. So the 2 goes here, and now we add straight down. Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. That's step 5, and then we're told to repeat as needed until we use up all the coefficients. So we're going to start over. We're going to say negative 8 times 2, and that's negative 16. So we'll put a negative 16 right here, and we will add 2 and negative 16 is going to give me a negative 14. And I'm out of numbers, so I'm done. The next step, or kind of a thing to remember, this is right up here above, is that we want to partition off the last number. This 14 right here will be our remainder. So I'm going to label that with an R, and R means remainder. Looking back up here at our things to remember, after we identify the remainder and break it off from the rest of the quotient with a vertical line, we're going to continue from right to left. And the next thing we'll identify is our constant, followed by x, x squared, x to the third, x to the fourth, however many we need. Well, in this case, if this is our constant here, I'll abbreviate it with a C, and then this is our x term, but now we've run out of numbers, so we don't have an x squared, x to the third, x to the fourth, any of that. So our answer is going to be combining the coefficient and the variable with any exponents left on it. So we're going to have a 1x. We would typically just write that as x. We have a negative 8 is our constant, so that doesn't get a variable, so minus 8. And then minus 14 is our remainder here. But remember that the remainder needs to be written over the divisor. Our quotient plus remainder over divisor. So our divisor was x minus 2, and this is our final answer. Using the same steps that we just went through, I'd like for you to try number 2. Give it a shot and then come back here to see how you did. Okay, so what you should have done is identified the k value as a negative 2 this time. If we see a positive 2, that means that our k value is actually negative 2. So that's the number that we will write on the outside of our half box. Negative 2 is our house number or our k value. And now we're going to pick up all of the coefficients. So we see that there's the implied 1 in front of x to the third. By the way, you should have confirmed 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0. We don't have any missing terms here. 4 will be next, 6, and then another 4. We bring down that very first coefficient. That gets us started, and now we multiply, add, multiply, add. So 1 and negative 2 will give me negative 2. Add down to get 2. Now I'm going to multiply 2 times negative 2. That will be negative 4. And remember, we're going up and to the right in order to write our answers. Draw those little arrows if you need to guide you. And that's going to be a negative 4. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Adding, we get a positive 2. Now, if we see 2 times negative 2, that's again a negative 4. And adding, we're going to get 0. So that means that for this particular problem, our remainder is 0. So we don't have to write anything with a fraction of remainder over divisor because it's 0. Continuing to the left, constant, x and x squared. So we will write our final answer as combining these back together. So we have a 1x squared, which we would just write as an x squared, plus 2x plus 2. No remainder, so no fraction.